This is a talking session between journalists and stakeholders on ways to revamp the petroleum industry. The Petroleum Industry Bill is one of the oldest bills ever conceived by the National Assembly. The idea of the bill was first mooted by federal legislators during the Fourth Assembly to address effects and the impact of oil exploration on the economy and on the host communities in the Niger Delta. However, some stakeholders in the industry who are keen advocates of the PIB are blaming personal interest and lack of political will by successive governments as reasons why the PIB has suffered rejection since its inception.
Everybody transacting in Port Harcourt will suffer from the suit. Am I correct? Am I lying? So we are a nation. And when we start thinking that way, we can solve problems. If politicians play the game of division, and they do it only for, as any of them say, they don't take their salaries. Any of your principals, National Assembly, said, oh, no, we'll return our salaries. No. Will they say our pensions and our sign-up? They say no. At that point in time, they don't say you are Ijo, you are Yoruba, you are Hausa. At that point in time, it's common interest. But we, the people, never understand what our interest is or how we're impacted by lack of policies. The GDP contribution of oil to Nigeria is 8.6%. And it brings so much revenue. Why do you think that happens? Why can a commodity that brings so much revenue have such a low impact on GDP? Because there's no value additionality. Somebody asked why refineries and why we are doing refining in Nigeria. But somebody said compel all companies to open refineries in Nigeria. One, in business there's no compulsion in business. That's one fact. Secondly, we have refineries. We've had refineries for the past 4 years. Do you know what killed the refineries? Do you know what killed it? Not corruption. Because the easiest mantra people always say in Nigeria is corruption. Because we are used to think. Everybody assumes that people are always stealing. Sometimes it's inefficiency.
They explained why a full adoption and implementation of the PIB, or the PIGB as you may choose to call it, remains the catalyst for the economic development of the country, as well as remains the only solution to harnessing the full potentials of crude oil and gas exploration and exploitation in the country.
The harmonized PIGB, pass it quickly and send it back for presidential assent within this small time. So that's a great thing. Okay? So we want to assume, or we want to actually claim that it was due to the media campaigns coming out of interactions in Enugu with journalists that led to this reaction from the Senate. So I'm hoping that by the time we finish out here, you'll be able to put out sufficient publications in your various channels that will also not just make the House of Rep do their own response, but also make the President to do the needful.
Gas infrastructure costs money to put in place. So the project will, at a minimum, return the investment. Typically, they don't look for more than 15% rate of return on those kind of investment. And that's not a huge one, right? But you must return something. Otherwise, nobody will put his money into it.
Initiative, which it has domesticated, and we have then what is referred to as the native. So indeed, there is a framework for transparency and accountability within the petroleum industry. And if you couple that with, say, the Freedom of Information Act, there is a basis for people to be able to demand accountability, to transparency. But the accountability I was referring to is the role of the media and other advocacy actors to hold those that are in authority to account for the public trust. That's really the accountability I was referring to, because of what use would be the 80 or the 90 or the Freedom of Information Act if nobody activates it or evokes it.
Crude oil exploration started in 1957 with the discovery of a large deposit of the product in Olubiri and later other parts of the Niger Delta region. But despite the long years of oil exploration, Nigeria still have failed to catch in on the true essence of this highly sought-after product to better its economy and the lives of its citizens, particularly that of the host communities. The general consensus, however, is that now is the time for the federal government and stakeholders to put sentiments and personal interests aside to ensure that the Petroleum Industry Bill is assented to in full, or else one will be forced to ask the question, who is really scared of the Petroleum Industry Bill? Emmanuel Ejine, PTV News, Abuja.